Hi there, so we're back tonight and we're gonna make some sourdough chocolate chip cookies. They are one of my favorite chocolate chip cookies. I have a lot of favorite chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna make another one another time. It's a gluten-free one, but tonight we're doing the gluten. So I fed the sourdough this morning before I went to work, probably at 7:30, and now it is 6:30. So we're gonna check out what the sourdough looks like. She's probably real ready to go. Oh yeah. She's an active one. One of the bubbles just popped for me. All right, so we're starting off with scale per usual. I'm gonna throw that on there and set it out to 0. So first off, we're gonna need 350 grams of flour, and I'm just using all-purpose flour for this. Then we're gonna do 3 grams of baking soda. I always get confused with these. I don't know why. Baking powder and soda, I still don't know until I read the box which one's which. And one's not even in a box. So we got 3 grams, and now we're gonna do 6 grams of cornstarch. You could use a spoon for this, just in case you accidentally put too much in, which I have done before, but lesson not learned yet. Just a measly 2 grams of salt, and I'm just using the usual sea salt. I don't know, it says it's free-flowing iodized. I don't really know what that means. I looked up salt before, and I think I had a salt kick, and I don't remember what I learned. So I put 3 grams of salt in by mistake, but that's okay. And then we're gonna do 250 grams of chocolate chips. I do semi-sweet chocolate chips, or I do dark usually. So 250 grams seems like a lot, because it is a lot. But in saying it's a lot, you need them all. 252 grams. So we're gonna mix this together, and then we will get started on the wet ingredients. So it says to start off with 100 grams of sourdough, but I didn't want to bore you with the butter part, so we have butter. It's 180 grams of melted butter. So now we're gonna do 100 of sourdough, which this is more than I need for sure. Sometimes I do a double. You just can't have enough chocolate chip cookies to hand out to people. So we've got 113, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm not even gonna fix it. So next after that, we have the butter, which I did 180 grams. Then we have 160 grams of brown sugar. I always buy dark brown sugar. By no means are these cookies healthy, but they are so good. If you like a chewy cookie, these ones are good. If you like a crunchy cookie, not so much. Okay, so we got 160 of the brown sugar, and then we need 100 grams of just white sugar. So I'm gonna do the normal sugar I always do, which is organic cane sugar. We have 100 grams there. So now we need 1 egg, just some extra large normal eggs. Did I already start this card? I sure did. Switch. So we have 1 whole egg, and then we're gonna do 1 yolk. And every time I have to think about which part's the yolk, and then you say egg white, and then you know which part's the yolk. So here we have our yolk going in with a little bit of white. Sometimes I wonder when I'm reading and doing a recipe, how do people come up with just like a yolk or just a white? Like, very curious how people come up with that. Versus a whole egg. Now we need 5 grams of vanilla extract. So I have pure vanilla extract. I got a big boy from Costco. There we go. And we're all done with our scale. Just gonna turn that off, get it out of the way. And now we're just gonna mix. And as always, don't forget to feed that sourdough and put it in the fridge for next time, or the counter, depending how often you're using it. So I think, I don't really remember because I haven't read the instructions in a while, but I think it says to like mix, and then this should resemble like a caramel in a way. Not that it looks or tastes like a caramel, but like just the maybe coloring and the texture of it once you get it nice and stirred in there. This is where I think a KitchenAid would come in handy, because I'm not the most committed stirrer or mixer by any means. If you ask my sister, whenever I do something with, I don't know what it is, baking powder or soda, somebody always gets a clump of it. And I feel like it's usually her who gets it. It's because I'm just not committed to the whole entire stirring situation. Now we're gonna dip our caramely looking mixture. It does resemble caramel. It really does look like caramel to me. Okay, focus. We're gonna dump this into here, wet into the dry, and we're gonna mix it on up. Okay, we'll just stir it until it's nice and incorporated. These cookies really don't take that long to make. I feel like this portion of it anyway, once you have all the ingredients set out, it probably takes like 10 minutes or less. I'd say it even takes less than 10 minutes. So it's pretty quick. Feels like not a lot for one night. All right, we're done mixing the cookie dough. My arm is actually very sore from doing that. So this is what it looks like when it's all mixed up. Now we're gonna let this sit from 12 to 24 hours, and we're gonna let it sit in the fridge overnight. And for the morning, you're gonna need a cookie tray, a cookie scoop. I like to do salt on top, the flaky sea salt that I crunch on top. Ever since I did a recipe with a flaky sea salt on top, I'm hooked and I can't not now. So I'm gonna set this in the fridge overnight and then I'll see you again in the morning most likely. And if not, then I guess I will let it sit longer and I'll do it after work. Have a great night. Hey, so we are back. I definitely did not get around to making the cookies this morning. Right now it is currently 6:32 at nighttime. So we are gonna finish these cookies off. I did make one giant cookie already, so I have to make the smaller ones. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, so I made a cookie for my soul sister, Nicole. It's a heart-shaped cookie. Turned out pretty cute. Actually, I'll show you it when it's done. Oh, it is done. Chelsea Joseph. So here's the back of the giant cookie. And then here's the front. It's just so cute. I'm so excited. Okay, so you're gonna need a cookie scoop. I think this is a 2 tablespoons. I'm not quite certain. It looks like it could be. And then you'll need your cookie dough. And then I use sea salt flakes from Greece, natural. It's just from Winners if you have Winners. It's the only place I've ever been able to find flaky sea salt. I've looked at all the grocery stores and I cannot find it. All right, so we got our big giant baking tray. I have parchment paper down and I got my scoop. Here's the dough. So yesterday it was pretty like soft and today it's hard. It's been in the fridge for quite some time, so we're good to go. So I put it in the scoop and I level it off. So I take some of this off, kind of pushed it in there a bit, and then just scoop her on down. And then you're gonna want to flatten the cookie a bit, not a ton, just a bit. So I definitely did not need to use a pan this big to do the recipe. Usually I do double it and I need the pan this massive. These pans are awesome, these huge ones. So much nicer than having to do so many rounds of cookies. Okay, so we got them flattened out and then we're gonna take our chunky sea salt, and I always take a pinch because it is pretty large flakes. Sorry, I have cookie on my hand there. So they're pretty big flakes. So I usually take them and I squish them in my fingers and break them apart a bit and then put them on top. So my brother-in-law was just here and he said to my sister, "There's cookies at our house. Where did they come from?" And then I instructed him, you don't eat cookies where you don't know where they came from in a container. They could be from strangers. Anyway, it turned out they were from me. Didn't know. And Chris said that they were the best cookies he might have ever had. These ones. Chocolate chip. And then he said to me, "Was there salt on top?" I said, "Yeah." So ever since I started the salt, I just can't go back. And people totally notice the salt. I think it makes a big difference. And for the most part, I think people like it. Can't go wrong with like a chocolatey salt. Sorry, I guess I should have told you this before. I have the oven preset at 330 degrees. And then we're gonna put it in the oven, I believe, 13 to 16 minutes. I'm gonna check it at the 13 mark. You're gonna want the cookies to be like cooked on the edges, but you want the middle to be still like almost raw looking, I guess I would explain. If it looks fully cooked in the middle, then, well, it depends on what kind of cookie you want. If you want a crunchy hard cookie, that's one thing. But if you want the cookie how I've been making them, which is like a very, very soft cookie and the middle is almost kind of doughy in a way, then you're gonna want to take it out while the middle still looks a little bit raw. But it's up to you. You could always play around too, because I did do them and I did make a batch that was cooked totally in the middle. I mean, they're cooked, but it's like very cooked in the middle. Didn't love it as much as the super soft one where it felt like it wasn't totally cooked all the way through. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven for 13 minutes and then we'll check it out and see what it looks like. For some reason, if you also wanted to do a gigantic cookie, you just use a cake pan. And I traced it on parchment paper on the back and then I just cut it out and stuck it on the very bottom. I did it 330 degrees for 15 minutes for that. My mom has made them for me and my sisters every Valentine's Day and she's not here this Valentine's Day, so I decided to make one for my friend. Even when we were in college and university for my sisters, she would send us a care package with our massive cookie every Valentine's Day. And everybody would be super jealous. I don't know if people do care packages anymore, but it was awesome when it happened. So we just finished the 13 minutes and that's all I'm gonna do. I'll show you the cookies. I feel like other times I've done them, they've looked a little bit more like rawish in the middle, but I don't know if you can really tell. Yeah, I feel like with this one, maybe you can. Maybe not on screen though. Ah, they're back over there. They look like they are more solid around the edges, but still soft in the middle. So this is what they look like right now. But in 10 minutes, they'll probably crinkle down a little. So maybe I'll point you down so you can see it a little bit better. Because they do change texture, because you really need to let them sit for the 10 minutes. Because if you try to lift them, they're just gonna break. So this is what they look like right now. Slide you over a little rover. And then in 10 minutes from now, they will change in texture. They'll look like flatter and more wrinkly. All right, so we are back, and this is what they look like after setting for 10 minutes. So they do flatten out a bit and get a little crinkly, and then I'm not sure if you can tell or not from the camera, but they do look like a little softer in the middle there. Okay, we're gonna grab a soft looking one. They're still warm. So here it is from the front, and there it is from the back, and we'll give her a little break. I don't know what it was supposed to show when I did that. I was expecting something dramatic. Super soft though. I like a cookie better when it's cooled so that the chocolate gets hard, but people do enjoy their warm chocolatey chocolate chip cookies. And that's it. Thanks for watching.